Quick meeting logistics. These are pretty, I don't know. The way Teams functions continues to evolve. So today, what meeting logistics look like is we've got everybody with cameras and mics disabled for right now. We're going to keep them in that posture until we get to the final Q&A, and then we'll open them up, and that'll give everybody a chance to ask any questions you've got on presentations you've heard today or anything else you might have for us. All of our presenters are going to hang out through that final Q&A. So if there's something that you hear in a presentation today and it sparks a question, just know that person will be here to answer your question at the end of things. We're not going to go over the meeting agenda. It's sitting in front of you and pretty basic, and it's a standard meeting agenda for us. So we'll skip Brooke. I'll give a quick general program update for the division. First thing I wanted to note is many of you know Kelly Mills is left and gone to our sister division, the Water Quality Planning Division, and that's where the agency houses its water quality standards and related programs. And so we have a replacement for Kelly Mills. Stephanie Escobar is our new assistant deputy director, and she started as of January 1st. We couldn't have her join us today because we put her to work right away. She's off representing us at another meeting this afternoon. Her focus initially is going to be with our groundwater programs and also our business support functions. But over time, I know that many of you will see her in meetings, including this one, and at conferences and the like. So she's a point of contact for our division programs, as well as myself and the other staff that you'll see here today presenting. The only other item I have for our division update is, of course, just to recognize that we still have drought conditions in a lot of the state and low water supplies, and it's January. So we've unfortunately passed a lot of the part of the year where we typically get a lot of rain. So we're thinking about what things could look like this summer and trying to make sure we're prepared for that. And we'll just be looking forward to how things develop, and if we see conditions get really hot and dry once again, which is forecasted, I think. With that, I'll wrap up my update. And first up, beyond me, is going to be Kathy Alexander for our technical update for the program. Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kathy Alexander. I'm Policy and Technical Analyst for the Water Availability Division, and I have two quick updates for you today. The first is regarding the environmental flows report that we created. The Texas legislature passed Senate Bill 1397, our Sunset Bill, in 2023. And among other things, the bill required TCEQ to submit a biennial report on the adopted environmental flow standards to the Environmental Flows Advisory Group, with the first report submitted on January 1st, 2024. And as many of you know, that adopted environmental flow standards are the environmental flow requirements that we put in water rights permits. So, as I said, the report was completed and it's now posted on TCEQ's website. And we also provided a link to y'all via email on January 8th if you're looking for a link, and I can also post it in the chat. So the report has a brief background and a timeline for revision of the current standards, an outline of the SB3 process, a discussion of how the adopted standards are implemented in water rights permitting, as well as TCEQ, the Texas Water Development Board, and Texas Parks and Wildlife's current environmental flow activities. We did provide one recommendation to the Environmental Flows Advisory Group, asking that they consider agency resources required to support the review and revision of adopted standards when they're developing their priorities and schedule for further review of the standards under adaptive management. The second thing I have for y'all is on the WAM side of things. Not much going on. However, we are currently working with basin interests to finalize an update to the naturalized flows in the Cypress Creek Basin. And once TCEQ's accepted the report, we'll be posting the new model as well as the report on our website. And that's all I have today. Thank you. Reese?
I was waiting for my cue. Thank you, Kathy. My name is Ruth Takita. I'm a staff attorney at the TCEQ Office of Legal Services Environmental Law Division. And I have a very brief factual update for y'all. First of all, our office, I represent the executive director, and we have an executive director who previously served as interim ED, and that's Kelly Kill. As far as the cases we have, there's a pending case in Travis County District Court regarding a permit that the TCEQ issued to a water right holder. That was heard on September 13th. We're waiting for a decision in that. Information on it is available on the Travis County website, online case information. If you are interested in the cause number, the docket number, we can certainly provide that. We have several matters pending in the State Office of Administrative Hearing, which has issued proposals for decision in 3 of them. They were heard last year. The San Antonio Water System proposal for decision was issued in November. The parties are currently filing exceptions and replies to the judge's proposal for decision. City of Wichita Falls, that application for water rights permit was heard in August of last year, and a proposal for decision was issued in December. Again, exceptions, replies, that's the procedural posture that case is in. Port of Corpus Christi Authority, the proposal for decision was issued after the hearing in September. The decision came out in January. So fresh off the presses, so to speak, and the exceptions will be due soon. And we have another case that was referred to SOA last year, and SOA, by the way, is State Office of Administrative Hearings. I'm terrible at using acronyms. That hearing has not yet been scheduled, but we will be having a preliminary hearing soon. And if you'd like any further information, again, the information on each case is available on the agency website through our commissioner's information database, and also at the SOA website. So that is it, and I believe that Bert Galvan is next. Thank you.
Thanks, Ruth. Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. This is Bert Galvan. I'm the manager for the Water Rights Permitting Availability section. I am going to be presenting a brief on the water rights permitting availability. Let's see. Can you share the presentation I just emailed you, Brooke? Because it looks like I'm not able to share with the current settings.
Yeah, 1 second. I'm getting it. It just took a second to come over.
Sure, no worries. All right. Go to the next slide. Okay, so this data is from a few days ago. Some of the numbers may have changed slightly. You know, water rights change all the time, the applications. Currently, we have 130 pending applications, with diversion point applications being the largest application type, followed by fast tracks and new appropriations. Let's go to the next slide. Out of the 130 pending applications, 22 are currently being contested. Next slide. And so our target for total in-house pending uncontested applications is 125. Since early 2021, we have been on target, and we're currently standing at 108. Next slide. For the fiscal year 2024, we have received 22 new applications and have completed 24. Let's go to the next slide. And so for the 22 applications received this fiscal year, 9 have gone admin complete, and all 9 were on target. 13 are still pending and are not yet admin complete. There are complexities associated with many of these, and the 90-day target may not be met. Let's go to the next slide. 2 House Bill 1964 applications have been completed. Those have a target of 90 days for completion. 1 was not on target. The applicant asked for multiple extensions, extending the processing time. Let's go to the next slide. So fast track processing timeframes. 75% of the fast track applications we have processed have been completed within the 300-day target. Of those that were not, 3 were completed very close to the 300-day target, and the remaining application had complexities that resulted in a more extended time frame. For the next slide. And this fiscal year, we have completed 96 change of ownerships applications so far, with 89% of them being on target. Okay, we're approaching the end of my presentation. Let's see here. So staff updates. Since the last time we met, we have some new staff. We have 3 new hydrologists that joined the surface water availability team: Emily Lane, Aya Bangham, and Faith Atkins. We also have a new project manager with the water rights compliance and assurance team. Additionally, we also have 3 current vacancies, 2 hydrologist positions, also with the SWAT team, surface water availability team, and a program support coordinator position vacant currently with the section at the section level. And that's my presentation. Here's my contact information. Again, I'm Bert Galvan, the manager for the water rights permitting and availability section, and I'll hold for questions at the end. Thanks, Brooke. Appreciate it.
Oh, good afternoon, Brooke. I'm sorry. Are you sharing my presentation?
I am. Yep.
Okay. Give me a second here. Okay, thank you. I believe I'm next and the last in the meeting today. So good afternoon. My name is Jose Davila Pepe. Thank you for the opportunity to share a brief update on our water master operations. Next slide, please. In reference to our water master evaluations, we concluded fiscal year 23 water master evaluation with no water master programs being established for the Trinity, San Jacinto Coastal, and the Neches Trinity Coastal Basins. FY24 evaluation for new water master programs is about to begin. This time we will evaluate the Neches and Sabine River Basins. We will be communicating about stakeholder input and meetings in the coming weeks and 2 months. Findings and recommendations will be presented to the commissioners in early September at agenda session. Next slide, please. Moving on to the section update. The Water Master programs closed fiscal year 23 very busy as usual and began FY24 in similar circumstances. The programs continued with routine investigations while managing water rights and surface water related complaints. However, some suspensions and curtailments have been eased or lifted in some areas in the South Texas and Brazos programs due to recent rainfall events. Related to staff update, our 4 programs are fully staffed now, and we recently filled 3 vacancies by hiring 3 water master deputies. Henry Gray in the South Texas program for the Hill Country area, Ashton Parsley in the Stephenville area, and Michael Reynaud in the Waco South area, both of them for the Brazos Water Master program. Next, please. Okay, next, I will touch briefly on the drought monitor as of January 23, 2024, and how it's linked to the water master areas. Drought conditions have improved in many of the water master areas. However, areas in the South Texas Water Master program continue to experience different levels of severity, from no drought to extreme drought levels, particularly being the most impacted multiple central Texas counties of the upper Guadalupe and San Antonio River basins, followed by small pockets in the South Central Brazos Water Master program. The upper Rio Grande region continues to experience similar conditions, while it improved in the middle and lower Rio Grande regions. Conditions have improved substantially for the Concho River Water Master program, as the monitor reflects no drought present in almost all of the jurisdiction, with some areas in the upper Concho River Basin with abnormally dry conditions. However, as Kim mentioned earlier, based on forecasts, we anticipate conditions will escalate in severity quickly as we make progress into the heavier water demand months and season. And next slide. That is my contact information, and that is all I have for my update. Thank you.
Okay, thank you to Pepe and all of our other presenters. I'm going to ask Brooke to go ahead and prep us for the question and answer session. We've got a couple posted in the chat already. Let me go over some logistics. Brooke is gonna help us enable question and answers by letting folks unmute their mics and possibly turn on their cameras if they so desire to. That might take just a minute.
We're good to go.
Okay, thank you. If y'all would, if you're not talking, if you'd make sure your cameras and mics stay off, that way we're in a good position to be able to address questions. Kathy, I think this first question is for your presentation, if you would pop on and take it. And if there aren't any more on yours, then go ahead and hand it to Ruth because she's up next after you.
Okay, great. Ken had a question about the status of the Cypress Creek Basin updates and where we currently are. I think that the work is substantially completed. We had met with the group that's working on that right before the holidays with a few minor things that we'd ask them to take a look at. And so we should be getting that back sometime probably mid-February, and then it should be a pretty short staff review. So sometime this spring, we should have that information available. Ruth?
I'll go ahead and unmask here. Carolyn, the applicant in the fourth case I mentioned that has been referred to SOA and hasn't had a preliminary hearing yet, the applicant is the city of Lubbock, and it's for water use permit number 5921. Thank you.
Okay, and I'll call for any questions. You can raise your hands electronically or whatever works for you if you've got extra questions. I feel like y'all are taking it easy on us today. Okay, well, I'm gonna do a last call, and if you guys don't have any questions, we'll wrap up for the day. Oh, Carolyn, go ahead. For some reason, Carolyn, we cannot hear you if you're talking. Like you're on mute. We'll give her just a minute. Brooke, does she need to unmute herself or do you have the capability to do that?
I was actually just looking at that. I don't have the capability to unmute, only mute. So
But she has the ability to unmute herself.
she should, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Carolyn, we don't want your question to go unanswered. So if you do have
it's
one.
in the chat.
Oh, there we go.
No, she'll save it. Okay.
All right, then. Well, as always, all of you know that you can contact us directly. You can call or email myself or any of the folks that have presented today if you've got something you need us to address specifically for you.
Hey, Kim, we got another question in the chat. Daisy Cantu, how are we preparing for the forecasted drought?
Thanks, that's a good question. Pepe, I know, your folks gear up for drought by making sure, first of all, that your deputies are aware of what conditions exist right now and what things can look like when we enter a severe drought. And so what we normally see is we prepare for more complaints and the workload associated with complaints to increase during drought in our water master areas. And so they prepare to respond to complaints as quickly as possible with a priority on those and working them into their normal investigation routine. So they prepare for that increased workload and then just make sure they really are familiar with water rights in their areas, and particularly priority dates and any stream flow conditions that exist in those water rights, and they're ready to begin really paying attention to those as conditions decline. Statewide, of course, we see an increase in complaints. That's a big thing that all of our regional offices experience. So they begin setting aside some staff time during the summer to respond to complaints. And we prepare in the event that there's a priority call, which means making sure that the data we use here in the office is ready as we can be for a priority call, and then just making sure that we know what our procedures are for evaluating and responding, whether it's to a complaint or priority call or the like. We do like to make sure, we let stakeholders know as well that as the workload increases with drought, it takes our resources away from our more routine activities, whether they be our routine enforcement activities and investigation activities, or permitting. So we had to try hard to balance all of those things. Thank you for your question. And Carolyn, we're ready for yours.
Thank you. Apologies for the confusion earlier. You know, it seems like it's a really small thing, but I have now had yet another county clerk who refuses to sign those postcards that are supposed to be returned when you record a new water right. And it's, if we could, that postcard system, it's surprising how much extra cost there is trying to prep the water right holder to understand what they're going to be facing when they go to the county clerk, and then send the postcards back, and then send in the evidence. And I'm just wondering if there's any room to work on simplifying that procedure.
Let us take that feedback and think about it. I think we have to look at, you know, what it would take to get us there. Simple things often have complicated solutions, I've found. I'm sure you're really familiar with that, but I appreciate hearing the feedback, Carolyn. And I'm definitely happy to take that back and just see what it would require. I don't know off the top of my head. I mean, if I've got staff on that can provide a little bit more information about what that might require of us, you're welcome to join and provide that feedback. That means I assign it the next time we're together. But thank you, Carolyn, and I'll make sure I touch base with you and let you know. Any other questions? All right. Well, with that, we'll wrap up our meeting today. Thank you all very much for joining us. And again, you're welcome to contact myself or any of my staff here on the call today. If you've got other questions you'd like to ask or things you need to check up on. Thank you.